Salutations, School Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, School Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, School Believer. Hello there, School Believer. Hey, if you're anything like me, I am just so tired of going from screen to screen to screen, trying to figure out my analytics for all my social medias and trying to figure out where I can put any and all my energies to get as much reach as I can. Well, I think I've finally found the solution. Elementary analytics. That's right, elementary analytics. Now, at a single press of a button, I can see all my social media analytics from Google to Twitter to Facebook, all my important information all on one screen. All on one screen. Can you believe it? And if you really needed to, you could print charts for any possible meetings you might have. If you want to learn more about this amazing program, go to tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial with no credit card needed. That's tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial. Try it right now and see what it can do for you. Undiscovered Entrepreneur, episode number 35, and we're still alive.
You've had your personal brand from the day you were born. Even prior to that, most likely your mom was going around telling all of her friends, sipping tea saying, "Oh my God, Jesse's being born in a couple of months." So it's like your personal brand actually started before you were born in a lot of cases. But throughout your life, you grow your personal brand. And so if you're looking to start a business right now, you need to be building both. You need to really lean in and consciously build out your personal brand as, hey, I am the founder. This is me. This is my personality. Get people to know who you are, you for you and you as the professional. It's a double-sided coin.
Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Believer, and welcome to the newest edition of Undiscovered Entrepreneur, and it's me, DJ Scoob, coming at you with whatever device you happen to be listening on. All right, so today we have a very awesome episode for you, part 2 of 3 of experienced entrepreneurs, and also I just want to let you know right up front here, I do have a couple of special announcements that I'm going to be going over with you at the end of the program. When the episode ends, please continue listening with the follow-up because I will be making some special announcements. All right, so we are talking to Isaac today, and he is a specialist in branding. He's been doing it for quite some time. Make sure you take a listen to what he has to say if you have any questions about branding because he has a lot of fantastic information about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Isaac. Salutations, Scoop Believers, and we are here again with another amazing entrepreneur. Today we are here with Isaac. Hey, Isaac, how are you doing, my friend?
Jesse, I am doing blessed. Thank you for inviting me on.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for coming on to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. Now, I have a really kind of semi-serious question to ask you. All ready?
Okay.
All right. Are you a Scoop Believer?
Absolutely not. Just kidding. No, 100%, Jesse. 100%.
All right. He got me on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Isaac. I really appreciate that. So if you could do just a little for me here and just kind of introduce yourself and tell me about your entrepreneur adventure and how long you've actually been doing it for.
Yeah, 100%. I run a public relations firm called Mashman Ventures. I specialize in personal branding. However, a lot of PR firms focus on bridging the gap between the consumer and the corporation, and we focus on bridging the gap between the follower and fan and the public figure. I've been in business in some way, shape, or form since 2017, but I just celebrated 2 years of Mashman Ventures being incorporated. So I'm super excited to be here and sharing this conversation with you.
Awesome. Congratulations on 2 years. That's amazing.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so since we're talking about time a little bit, in your first year of business, did you have any kind of serious pitfalls or problems about getting your business on the road and getting things started? I mean, we all have pitfalls and problems, especially when we first get started. Do you have one that kind of sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, 100%. It's I launched my business backwards, interestingly enough. And what I mean by that is I didn't even know that it was a PR firm. I knew that it would be in the field of personal branding, social media, something along the lines of building out people in the digital space, and it's evolved since then. But I knew that getting the paperwork, getting the LLC, as stupid as it might sound, would kind of set a fire underneath my butt. It would say that, hey, now I have something. This is a commitment I made, not to anybody else, but it's a commitment I made to myself. And then it was about 6 months later that I defined it as a public relations firm. And the reason I didn't define it prior was I was afraid of commitment. I was afraid of saying that, oh, this is a social media company, or this is a PR firm, this is X, Y, and Z, because for some reason I felt like it would limit me. It would put me in a box. And what I realized is that was actually limiting belief, and that committing to it was actually the best thing that I could have done. And it's not a limit, because I have opportunities to do other businesses and such. And through research and exploration, I realized that it was public relations, like that industry as a whole could pretty much define what I was doing. And that's one of the biggest things that looking back, the first 6 months sucked because I didn't know what I was doing. As soon as I figured out what I was doing, vision got clear and things got good.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. And that's kind of how I started things on my side too. I had no idea what I was doing when I started this podcast. It was just something I kind of thought about, or an idea I had in my head. So I was really kind of playing it by ear pretty much the whole time, up until I actually started getting some interviews under my belt and really realizing, hey, I know what's going on. Something I really like to touch on, though, is fear. And if anybody's listening in my podcast, so I always say this: fear is an acronym, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Now, when you started your business, you said you were scared because you weren't exactly sure how it was going to work out. But it's still okay. It wasn't life-threatening, and you figured it out at the very end. So that's really good. I'm really glad that worked out that way.
Yeah, definitely. And, over my journey, there have been multiple circumstances and situations where I could have either turned away, did the simple thing, or take the risk. And taking the risk every single time has been worth it. And I'm not saying, every single risk that you take is going to be worth it, but from my experience, every one that I did was.
Yeah, I personally kind of lean into fear. When I fear something, sometimes that's telling me, hey, that's the way you need to go, because whatever's on the other side of that is something that could really be great for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. How would you know? And there were multiple times too, even prior to launching Mashman Ventures, that if I didn't take that leap of faith, I didn't take that jump, I know without literally any hesitancy that I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And because I did that difficult thing, made that difficult decision, it worked out.
Good. That's awesome. So kind of speaking on kind of the same subject, is there a failure that you're proud of? Something that you think's out, even though I failed, I'm glad I did it that way, because if that's the case, I wouldn't be where I am today. Kind of like what you said just a second ago. Is there one that kind of sticks out to you, a fail that you're really proud of?
Not really, because my perception on failure is that it doesn't exist. The only way, and I oftentimes say that the only way that you could fail at marketing is doing something so egregious that it ruins your reputation. And it doesn't matter if you're aware of your reputation, but literally every single form of marketing and somehow can lead to a prospect, lead to new awareness, lead to an interaction. And in business, I really haven't been able to, I can't really think of a specific failure, but I can think of things that I could have done better, and such as the legal red tape. And I think that's something that a lot of people run from, whenever you first jump into it. It's as simple as, I know that it's not going to be in the podcast, but having your guest on a podcast say, hey, I give permission to the podcast host to, record this audio and distribute it. It's like, that is a form of legal red tape that a lot of people run from because it takes extra time. They don't think it's necessary. And certain things like refund policies, independent contractor agreements, things of that nature are extremely important. And yeah, it might take time or might cost money to get a lawyer to revise it and review it, but it's something that can save you a lot of heartache because there's no gray areas. And I think having the black and white area sometimes is really, really important.
Agreed. Absolutely. So, here's something a little bit different for you. When you were just getting started, like at the very beginning, did you have somebody that you looked up to, a mentor or somebody that you follow that really helped you succeed?
I've never had any physical mentors. I've had very few of those. Role models growing up, but when I started in business, I had virtual mentors. And prior to Mashman Ventures, I was in the industry of network marketing, and I was in 3 different companies, 4 different times within 2 years. And that was the one time that I finally realized that there was something on the other side of poverty or struggle. And, I always use the example of the great value can of beans from Walmart or the Bush's can of beans. And I'm from the background that's, let's get the great value. Let's get the great value mac and cheese instead of the Kraft. And it was through mentorship and the digital mentorship in the space that, those dream building experiences started to add up. And some of the founders of the company, not the founders, but some of the top earners in the network marketing company, they were essential. And then from there, after I got out of the industry, you have Grant Cardone, you have Ed Milet, but they're teaching you from afar and they're teaching the masses. They don't know I exist, but I know they exist. And I think that that's also a position that you should strive to be in, to where, you never know who you're going to be impacting. And then later down the road, you have the opportunity and somebody meets you and shakes your hand and goes, "Hey, I was learning from you for the past decade." And you're like, seriously, And so, yeah, I mean, nobody, too specifically, nobody in person, but digital mentors. And I think personal development is essential because, going and listening to this podcast is a form of personal development. And that's why I encourage it.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah. Virtual mentors. Yeah. Just like you said, mentors don't have to be a physical person that you actually talk to. A lot of times it could be somebody that you find on YouTube that you really liked and you could follow them and learn from them, even though you haven't really shook their hand or anything like that. Pat Flynn was like that for me. He's the one that actually taught me how to podcast and things like that. But I've never really shaken his hand or met him in person. But I definitely give him a lot of credit for what he's taught me. And I hope someday I'm able to shake his hand and tell him thank you. And I hope someday somebody that listens to this and listens to my podcast wants to shake my hand and say thank you. That's actually one of my life goals, to have somebody do that for me.
I have no doubt in my mind that will happen, Jesse.
Oh, gee, thanks. All right, Isaac. Okay, so you've been doing this for a little while, for about 2 years. Do you have 1 or 2 accomplishments that you're really super proud of that you like sharing with your audience?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm not one of these guys that, in the industry of PR is really an industry about ego and manipulation, and there are a lot of people that aren't ethical and moral about it. And I'm also not one of these guys online that's like, let me go ahead and flash every single positive testimonial and speak about all my client success. But when the topic arises and, the time is right, then I'll mention it. And one of the clients, and he's actually a friend of mine today, a close friend. He started out as a stranger though. I helped him launch, his personal training business, and he surpassed me actually like within a couple months because he had the audience and he was able to leverage it. And by working with me, he always reminds me, he's like, "Isaac, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I'm at." And I'm like, all right, well, just don't speak like that. Like, I'm not going to take all that credit, but truthfully, he was able to have, a $10,000 a month within like the first 3 months of launching his personal training business. But I'm not going to just outright, mention that on every single tweet like certain people do. And so that was big, but it's cool too, because in the industry of personal branding, I work with a lot of people to help launch their business. And it's like my realm of services sometimes veers into that business consultant area, to where I help them find a good company name, a name that isn't taken, something that is unique, something that has value for the long term. And I've had the pleasure of naming literally, I would say, a dozen companies in the past 18 months alone. And that's a lot of fun. And it's a skill that translates off of the digital space as well.
That's cool. That's amazing to be able to say, "Hey, I had a hand in this company," to come up with the name and come up with the branding. That's got to be an awesome accomplishment when you actually see that, growing and I did that. That's
satisfying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this question. If you knew somebody was jumping into a brand new entrepreneurship, like for the first time, is there a specific advice you would give them to say, hey, this is what you should do to get your entrepreneur adventure started? Is there some advice that you can give somebody that wants to get into that realm?
Yeah, and I wouldn't give advice that would be too technical into the business side of things. I would actually say that you need to be building out your personal brand simultaneously. So for example, you'd be building out your personal brand as Jesse Blount to work and build any of your other businesses, right? And you're like, I am the founder of X, Y, and Z business. But building out your personal brand is a way to increase the credibility of your company, direct attention, drive sales, because you're able to say, hey, I am associated with this business. I am the representative of my company that is going and talking about it on an interview or sharing my experience. And I would say that every single business owner cannot afford not to build out their personal brand right now in the world, because the influencer economy, the creator economy is worth billions of dollars, and it's only going to increase. And personal branding is going to be something that is vastly capitalized on in the next decade.
That's for sure. I've been actually watching this grow as time goes on, especially from when I started. I don't know if it's just because I'm becoming more aware of it, or just because I'm kind of embedding myself into this type of entrepreneur adventure. But more and more, I'm seeing that the creative economy is just growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
When we talk about branding, is there a specific type of definition of what branding actually is? If somebody wasn't sure, because I know when I first think about doing an entrepreneurship, my brain couldn't decipher between a logo and branding. So it's kind of weird, because like when I think of a logo, I think of a company, but then I think this is their brand. But a physical logo is different from a brand. So can you maybe define a brand for me?
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful thing to understand and to note too, that a logo is a part of a brand. It isn't the brand. The brand itself would be Coca-Cola, and the Coca-Cola logo is an aspect. The name is an aspect, and they're all extensions and pieces of the brand as a whole. So let's say, we have the company Coca-Cola, and that is the masterpiece of the jigsaw puzzle, and every single different piece kind of comes together. So the brand, and this is the other thing that I would also note before I answer that question, is there are different kinds of brands. There is a personal brand. There is a company brand. The podcast has a separate brand. If you write a book, your book has a separate brand, but they're all tied together in some fashion. And so your personal brand is who you are. It's what people know you as. Now, on a technical side, the company brand is what people know of, what people think of you. And when it comes to a company, you see, when you have a personal brand, you don't have to create personality traits or characteristics. You don't have to give yourself those traits. But when it comes to creating a company, you have to determine what is it going to stand for. What are the value what's the value proposition? What are the key pillars of what we're about? What are we trying to accomplish? What is our mission? And so the brand is ultimately what it is, and then marketing is the vehicle and the way that you get more people to know about you or about your company. And so it's not just a logo, it's not just a name, it's not just some marketing copy. All of it is a part of the brand. And I know it's a super long-winded answer, but it's a complex question, and complex questions oftentimes have complex answers.
No, that's okay, but it's important to get this all out just in case somebody has that question. So I want to make sure that's understood. So when you're talking about different types of brand, what brand would you actually, when you're starting an entrepreneur adventure, start on first? Would it be a personal brand, company brand? I mean, what would you concentrate on first when you're first getting started?
Personal brand and company brand. You've had your personal brand from the day you were born. Even prior to that, most likely your mom was going around telling all of her friends, sipping tea, saying, "Oh my God, Jesse's being born in a couple of months." So it's like your personal brand actually started before you were born in a lot of cases, but throughout your life, you grow your personal brand. And so if you're looking to start a business right now, you need to be building both. You need to really lean in and consciously build out your personal brand as, hey, I am the founder. This is me. I am this is my personality. Get people to know who you are, you for you, and you as the professional. It's a double-sided coin. And then when it comes to your company brand, you need to be cautiously building that. And a lot of people today in the digital space, especially, build out a company brand that is not really an extension of them. It's just like a hobby, a side hustle. But if you want to actually build something that is going to last, you have to establish and say, hey, this is a entity that is not just me. It's past me. And that's how you develop the team. That's how you scale it and, get people to where, you might not know, the specific founder of Walgreens, but Walgreens carries a unique name and a unique feeling to you. Right? You know of Walgreens for something, as that pharmaceutical store. And so you need to be building and thinking long term and building out your personal brand and your company brand simultaneously.
So if you were to give somebody advice on how to start your personal brand, let's just concentrate on that, because I think personal brand is one of the most important things to work on, because people need to know who you are. Can you give me one good tip on how to grow my personal brand?
Yeah. And it's not how to start, but it's more so how to continue creating it, because you're still, it's not something that you're starting per se. It's something that you're continuing to leverage and lean into. So when it comes to building out your personal brand, I would 100% ask yourself, what is the goal of it? What is the purpose behind it? I know it might sound, cliche. What are your goals? But seriously, are you wanting to build out your personal brand and be known? Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be well known locally or nationally, internationally for that matter, like a celebrity? And then on top of that, are you wanting to drive business, right? If you have a business, are you wanting to leverage your personal brands? And then understand that every single interaction you have is a contributing factor to your personal brand and to what people think of you as, and to take yourself serious and go into it and, be on multiple platforms and keep the term omnipresence in mind. A lot of times omnipresence is referred to as God, and in the least sacrilegious way possible. You need to be everywhere all the time with your personal brand. You need to be the number one person that somebody thinks of, or people are having conversations about you when you're not in the room.
All right. That's some amazing advice. I really appreciate you coming up with that, Isaac. And hopefully somebody could kind of take that and run with it if they're starting their entrepreneur adventure. So I appreciate that.
Excellent question.
Thanks. All right. So here's one of my favorite questions. I hope you're ready for this. And the next 6 months, where do you see your company? Do you have any goals for yourself in, say, the next 6 months?
Well, we're going to be moving. Personally, I'm going to be changing locations and really sinking my teeth in this new area. But I am feeling a $10,000 day very soon. So that's one of the big things. I don't put specific timelines on it. When I set my goals, I have I call them my accomplishments, and I act as if they're already there. So it's like I have had a $10,000 day rather than I am going to have a $10,000 day. And so I feel that coming very, very soon.
Awesome. That's great. So what I'd like to do with you, Isaac, is I'd actually like to follow up with you in about 6 months.
Okay.
Have another interview with you, and I'd like to see if you actually hit one of those $10,000 days or more. You never know.
Let's do it. Love to be back.
And I'm going to start doing that too. Be more present about my goals, and saying this is it, not it's going to be it, but this is it. So I appreciate that. All right. So at this point, if anybody's listening and wants to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you, Isaac? This is your time to shine, okay? So you go ahead and advertise yourself. Ready, set, go.
Man, I love your energy. You can find me on every single platform at Isaac Mashman, ISAAC, MASHMAN, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Quora, Reddit. I'm literally on every single platform. I also have a podcast of my own, but more importantly, I also wrote and published my first book last year, in November. So it's called Personal Branding, a Manifesto on Fame and Influence. And I talk about the what and why of your personal brand. What is personal branding and why should you be building it? And that's available on my website, isaacmashman.com/book, or on Amazon as well. So Jesse, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, Isaac. What's the name of your podcast, my friend?
Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman.
There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and link that in the show notes. So if anybody wants to listen to Isaac and learn about him and what he's doing, please go ahead and visit that in the show notes and listen to what he has to say. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the wrap up. Isaac, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right. Thank you, Scoop Believers. right, Scuba Believers, that was Isaac. Man, Isaac had just amazing information about branding and how it all works for you and how to make sure you get your branding right. That way your entrepreneur adventure just works out so much better. And I love that he actually gave us a really good definition for a brand and what a brand is all about. It's really important to get that definition down, especially when it comes to a brand, so people know what they're actually looking at when they're coming to look for you as a person, because you are the brand, basically. You know, I am my brand when it comes to Undiscovered Entrepreneur. I want to make sure that you are the brand that represents you. He had a lot of great tips about personal branding and kind of incorporating yourself in your brand so everybody knows kind of what they're getting into when they see your brand and what you're all about. And I'm really glad he has a podcast, and I think that's really beneficial for him to have a podcast to be able to talk about branding and that kind of thing. Chase the Vision with Isaac, and I will link that in the show notes so you can actually find that podcast and listen to what Isaac has to say about branding and whatever else he talks about in that podcast. All right, and now it's time for that special announcement I was talking about earlier. All right, so I hope you're all ready for this because I got a lot to go over here, so I'll make it as short as possible. So right now, I'm actually getting ready to finish and launch a newsletter. I'll be doing it sometime in February, so you want to stay posted, subscribe to the podcast so you can hear when that announcement comes out. And it's going to be a newsletter about the 5 important things to know when you're starting an entrepreneurial adventure. I talked a little bit about that in my interview on Pods Like Us a few episodes back, so take a look at that. So I'll go ahead and link that to the show notes as well. And just keep an eye out for that. I'm almost finished with it. I'm really excited to have it done. Let's see how that turns out. Also, you probably heard the little advertisement I have at the beginning. The Retreat's coming up. It's coming up here February 22nd to the 25th. And I'm actually going to be a part of it. My talk is going to be on the 23rd on that particular day. So if you want to go do that, plus get all the great information and all the great knowledge to absorb in this retreat, make sure you go to tuepodcast.net/speaking and use the coupon code SKOOB50 if you want to get in on the virtual. Now, the virtual is only $99, which means you get in for $49. All that great information for $49. You can't beat that with a stick. If you decide to go in person, it is in Red Wing, Minnesota, and you can use SKOOB300 and get $300 off that in-person ticket. You can actually go to the same website, tuepodcast.net/speaking, and get that as well too. All right, and I'm going to put this right in here too. This is really in serious works right now. I want to see what you all think about this. I want to do a 30-day challenge. So in this 30-day challenge, I want you to start your own entrepreneurial adventure by the end of the 30 days. I'll have more details as time goes on and more. I put out a couple more podcasts and we're going to have a lot of details in that. So please stay tuned to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast so you can see when that comes out. And of course, I actually have something brand new. I told you there's going to be a lot of announcements on this one. I'm doing some really, really hard work over the next couple of weeks so I can make this a success. So right now, if you go to tuepodcast.net/elite, you will find a link to go to Behind the Box. I am launching a behind the scenes recordings of my podcast. So you'll actually hear a little bit before and a little bit after those cameras are shut off. So everything that you've actually listened to here, you will actually get to hear more content, more learning, more everything. So we can actually get more information to you. Now, it is a subscription. So make sure you go to that and see if it's something you would like to take advantage of. All the proceeds that go through the subscription goes towards my podcast and helping other entrepreneurs start their entrepreneur adventure. That's the most important thing. So we're going to make sure that we're helping as many people as possible start their entrepreneur adventures and get their snowball rolling and get them across that start line. All right, now, last but not least, we're talking about a 5-star review that came through. And this came through one called Slow Learner and New Systems. And I'm actually going to read this one to you because I really liked this one. So we're going to talk about this. I appreciate how DJ Scoob reveals the hurdles and struggles of entrepreneurs as we start up. I feel seen. I feel not alone in my journey. I'm encouraged how others make it through and succeed, giving me more ideas and more hope. I realize how the process is often the same for us all, and we encourage one another along the way. Thank you, Scoob, for your podcast. So I'm really excited to have somebody that's really into that. Gosh, it's just so amazing that people are actually listening and learning. So I want to just kind of a quick shout out here to my Patreon, Brian Briggs. Thank you for being a Patreon. And if anybody else wants to be a Patreon and get their name mentioned on every single show from here on out, please go to tuepodcast.net/Patreon, where you'll get a lot of great information. You'll get behind the scenes videos, not just audios, but videos of my podcast, along with a Facebook group. And you actually have the opportunity to be one-on-one with me, DJ Scoob, if you want to take advantage of that. So please take a look at that. Take a look at the new tuepodcast.net Elite and see if you want to take advantage of that. So if you want to get a hold of me for any reason, you're more than welcome to find me on Twitter at DJ Scoob. That's SKOOB 2021. If you want to look into my new Facebook, I'm trying to get as many people as I can in there to help each other out. That would be tuepodcast.net/FB Scoob, SKOOB. All right, everybody, thank you so much for a great show, and we'll see you on the next time around. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Hello there, DJ Scoob here, and I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. Yo necesito un taxi. I need a taxi.
El taxi está aquí.
El taxi está aquí. The taxi is here.
¿Dónde?
¿Dónde? Where?
¿Dónde está tu pasaporte?
¿Dónde está tu pasaporte? Where is your passport?
Mi pasaporte está en el hotel.
Mi pasaporte está Mi pasaporte está en el hotel. My passport is in the hotel.
Un boleto a Santiago, por favor.
Un boleto a Santiago, por favor. A ticket to Santiago, please. Interesting.
El taxi está aquí.
El taxi está aquí. The taxi is here.
El hotel está cerrado.
El hotel está cerrado. The hotel is closed.
El taxi es amarillo.
El taxi es amarillo. The taxi is yellow.
Una cita. Bea está en una cita en un restaurante. Bea está en una cita en un restaurante. Bea está en una cita en un restaurante.
Viena está en una cita en un restaurante.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
Bien.
¿Qué quieres comer?
¿Qué quieres comer?
Una ensalada.
Una ensalada.
Hoy tengo un partido importante.
Hoy tengo...
Hoy tengo un partido importante.
Here we go.
Ah, ¿te gustan los deportes?
¿Te gusta en los deportes?
Sí, yo juego al fútbol.
Sí, yo juego al fútbol. She is playing soccer today. There we go.
Yo también.
Yo también.
¡Súper!
Super.
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Soy americano.
Soy americano.
Mi padre es de Cuba y mi madre es de México.
Oops.
Mi padre es de Cuba y mi madre es de México.
Oh, geez.
Mi padre es de Cuba y mi madre es de México.
Mi padre es en Cuba Y mamá is de... Okay, jeez. Y mi madre is in Mexico. There we go.
Me encanta Cuba.
Me encanta Cuba.
Cuba es muy bonita.
Cuba es muy bonita.
¿Tienes mascotas?
Tienes mascotas.
Tengo 2 gatos y un perro.
Yo también tengo un perro, José.
Oh boy. Choose the option that means also. Nope. Nope. También. Golly.
Yo me llamo Daniel. ¿Tú no eres Gabriela?
No. Yo me llamo Bea.
Yo me llamo Bea. Did you catch that? Bea and Daniela. We're supposed to meet different people.
Una mujer camina hacia Daniel.
Una mujer camina hacia Daniel.
Hola. ¿Eres Daniel? Soy Gabriela.
No, lo siento. Soy José.
Daniel lied to his real date because he likes Bea. Well, that's not good. Top to pairs. Okay. Importante. Salad is ensalada. Father is padre. Date is cita. And dogs is perros. Yeah, I got it. Wow. Okay. Jeez. That was a rough one. All right. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seeing big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.